All right, welcome back. Today we're going to be tackling 5-3, solving multi-step inequalities. This is going to be on page 298 in your textbook. That's page 298 in your textbook. So I'll give you a minute to get to the back. Here it's multi-step, okay? There, and to get your notes out, we're going to look at example number 1 first on page 298. Unfortunately, we're starting off with a word problem, but that's okay. Here's what the problem says. Write and solve an inequality to find the sales Mrs. Jones needs if she earns a monthly salary of $2,000 plus a commission on her sales. Her goal is to make at least $4,000 a month. What sales does she need to meet her goal? Well, we're going to need to walk through our process of solving a word problem. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a variable, and we're going to use x, the most commonly used variable in word problems or where you don't know what the value is. And we're going to make that the sales needed. Okay, now I'm going to go through, and how did I get that, I guess? What sales? I got that from right here. What sales does she need? That's the question. What sales does she need to meet her goal? So I'm going to go through this problem again, and I'm going to figure out the information that is essential for me to be able to solve this problem. So let's reread it, and let's circle or underline information that we possibly could use to help us as we go through and set up this inequality. Okay. Write and solve an inequality to find the sales Mrs. Jones need if she earns a monthly salary of $2,000. There we go. That's probably important to know right here. Plus a commission on her sales. So you kind of want to look for math words such as plus, tells you to add. So we know that we're going to be doing some addition, times, dividing, any kind of keywords that key you into what you're going to be doing with those numbers. So $2,000 plus a commission on her sales. Her goal is to make at least $4,000 a month. Okay, that at least part is going to tell us what sign we're going to use. And then I actually forgot to write a little bit in this problem, a commission of 10%. I forgot that part. There we go. That's going to be another piece of information that we're going to need to know. So we went through now, and I think that we've covered everything. We pulled out everything that we need in this problem. And so let's go ahead and let's try to see if we can set up an inequality. Okay. So I'm going to take another approach here, see what I have. I have $2,000 that she gets. I have a 10% commission. I have plus, at least, and 4,000. And now it's my job to use everything that I've written there in green to write an inequality to answer the question, what sales Mrs. Jones need to meet her goal? All right. So let's start with the at least part. It says at least $4,000. And so when we write this, we kind of have to think about this and trial and error it. Okay. She wants to make at least $4,000. If you think about at least, it means she would like to make ideally more than 4,000. The lowest that she wants to do is 4,000. She would like to do more if at all possible. And so the sign that we're going to use is the greater than or equal to, with this side being what she makes, and this side over here, the 4,000, being her goal. We've used the 4,000, we've used the at least. Now we just got to figure out how to use the 2,000, the 10%, and the plus. If I look back up at the problem, you'll see that she has a monthly salary of 2,000 plus a commission. That's probably the easiest part because base pay, she just gets $2,000 right off the bat. And then whatever she sells, if you're in a sales profession, you get a base pay and then you get extra should you sell, meet selling quotas or goals or anything like that. And so she gets $2,000 if she doesn't sell anything, and that increases the more she sells. So we've used that $2,000. She gets that $2,000. Then she has plus a commission of 10% on her sales. All right, here's where this 10%, we can't use the 10%, and so we need to change that into a decimal. Remember, to change a percentage into a decimal, you're going to move that percentage sign 2 places to the left. And when we do that, we get 0.1. And so we're going to plug that in, 0.1. It's a commission of 10%, on her sales. We made X be the sales that she needed. So she's going to get $2,000 plus 10% times X. And X is going to be the amount of money or the amount of sales that she makes. So now we should be set up. We should be ready to solve this at this point. And to solve it, you're just going to treat it like a regular equation, except it's an inequality. And if you go back and look real quick at the top of page 298, you'll see that it's solving multi-step. Actually, now all that really means, the multi-step inequalities, is that it's going to take more than one step, hence the word multi. Okay, multi-purpose room, the room that has multiple purposes. Okay. Um, so we're not going to solve these with just adding or just subtracting. We're going to have to do some addition, do some subtraction, and then do some multiplication or division. And you can see that right off the bat here. When I go to solve this, I first have to subtract 2,000. That's the first step. And then I'm left with 0.1x is greater than or equal to 2,000. And then my second step in my multi-step inequality is to divide by 0.1 and to divide the right side by 0.1. And I get x is greater than or equal to 20,000. And I should probably rewrite that so it's a little bit better here. There we go. So she needs to make greater than $20,000 worth of sales in order to reach her goal of at least making $4,000. And then we would be finished here. Here's the on your own example at the bottom of the guided practice, still on page 298. I've written it out here. I want you to give this one a try. Read through it a couple of times. Practice the same things, the same process that I've been using in these videos, where you read it through, identify the question, assign a variable, go back, look for important numbers or words that will help you set it up, write them out, try a few different things. It's okay if you don't get it right on the first try. That's why we're here, to learn, to get better at it. So pause this video here and take a little bit of time to see if you can figure this word problem out. Okay, so this problem reads, the print shop advertises a special to print 400 flyers for less than the competition. The price includes a $3.50 setup fee. If the competition charges $35.50, what does the print shop charge for each flyer? So if you followed what I've been doing, hopefully you looked at the question after you read it, and the question is, what does the print shop charge for each flyer? And you assigned a variable. I don't care which variable you choose, I always choose X. And X is going to stand for what? It's going to stand for the cost that the print shop charges for each variable. Okay, and I get that simply because that's the only information I don't know. And I don't know it because that's what the question is asking me to find. And so once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read this problem again and look for numbers and math words that will help me identify what I need to do in order to solve this. So the print shop advertises a special to print 400 flyers. My guess is that I'm probably going to be using that number 400. For less than, there's some math words we've learned with using inequalities, the competition. The price includes a $3.50 setup fee. If the competition charges $35.50, what does the print shop charge for each flyer? So now I have all the information I think that I need out of this word problem. So I'm going to move this over here. Right? And I'm going to make a little list of what I have. Okay? I have 400. I have less than. We can't forget about the context of the problem. I just write it out here so that way I can see it easier and make sure that I use all the information. Okay? So the print shop advertises a special to print 400 flyers for less than the competition. So here's how I personally would attack this problem. We have two competing print shops here, and one is going to try to beat the other one by printing flyers for a lower cost. And the print shop here promises that they will do theirs for less than the cost of their competition. And the competition is going to charge $35.50. Okay, so you kind of have to use a little bit of common sense, not too much, just a little, to figure out that, yeah, okay, this person is running a business. He wants to beat his competition. And so his shop prices are going to go over here. And this is going to be over to this side, his competition. And he wants his prices to be less than his competition's prices. So what I have left is the price includes a $3.50 setup fee, 400 flyers, and what else? Oh, and my variable. Forgot my variable in that list. Okay. So we've used the $35.50, right? The $3.50 setup fee. Okay. Now it doesn't say the word plus, but again, you just kind of have to know that it's plus. Think of it as it's just like a fee. So they're going to charge you to print your flyers, and depending on how many flyers you order. But then on top of that, they're going to charge you a fee to set up their machines, to set up their printers. And that fee is $3.50 plus the flyers that you order. When we know that we're in this problem, we're ordering 400 flyers. So we're going to use 400 flyers. And then remember, X was the cost of the print shop's charges. And I don't know why I wrote each variable right there. I'm sorry. Each flyer. There we go. The cost that the print shop charges for each flyer. So here's what we have. Let's see if this makes sense. $3.50 for the setup fee plus 400 flyers times the cost per flyer. Okay, the cost that the print shop charges for each flyer. So we're going to take 400 times the cost for each. And we want that to be less than our competition, who's charging $35.50. I think that makes sense. So let's go through and solve and see what we come up with. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 350. And remember, these are multi-step inequalities, meaning we are not going to solve these in one go around. So here I am going to get 0, I'm going to get 0, I'm going to get 2, and I'm going to get 3. Bring down my sign, and I'm left with 400x. Now to solve from here on out, you're going to do your second step. And your second step is to simply divide 32 by 400. So you're going to divide this side by 400, divide this side by 400, and you get x is less than 0.08. And remember that was cost. Okay? How do I remember that that's cost? Because look back up here at our variable, cost. X equals the cost that the print shop charges. So because this is cost, this is money. So this is going to be 8 cents, right? The print shop needs to charge either 8 cents or lower in order to beat their competitor's price. Okay? Not too bad. I encourage you to go slow. I encourage you to try. It's okay if you make mistakes. If you don't get it the first time, don't get discouraged. All right? They're really not too hard if you just kind of think your way through it and apply yourself. Let's move on to example number 2. It's going to be, oops. Okay, remember our rules that we have? We just want to remember our rule. What was our rule when we either multiply or divide by a negative number? Do you remember? It was that we always had to flip the inequality sign. And that's going to be in play here today as well. That is always in play, for a matter of fact. You always flip the sign when you multiply or divide by a negative number. So here we have an inequality that we need to solve. In fact, it says to solve this inequality and then graph the solution on a number line. We're going to first solve, then graph. All right. Let's get to solving. All right. First thing I'm going to do over here is I'm going to add 13 to each side. Add 13. Add 13. This cancels out. 12. 42 plus 13 is 55. Bring down the same sign. I'm not going to switch it since I didn't multiply or subtract by a negative. Bring down the negative 11y. Excellent. Now I'm going to divide by negative 11. Divide by negative 11. And hopefully something just tripped in your mind where you're like, hey, you just said divide by a negative number. And you're sure right, I did. And so when I do that, I must flip the sign. 55 divided by a negative 11 is negative 5. And so I have y is less than a negative 5. So I've solved it. The next thing I need to do is I need to graph. So I'm going to draw my number line. I'm going to put negative 5 over here. Negative 4. Negative 3. Be very careful when you're graphing negative numbers because they can be a little bit tricky. Okay. My circle goes on negative 5. Do you remember if it's open or do I shade it in? Hopefully you said open. Why is it open? Because there's no line underneath our inequality sign. This is just less than. There's no less than or, equal to. If there was a line under there and we had the equal to, then we'd fill it in, but we don't, so we shan't. Okay? What we're going to do now is we need to figure out which way to graph it, to have our arrow go. And it says y is all the numbers lower than negative 5. And so that means that they are going to be going to the left, just like that. And now I've solved, and I've graphed, and now I'm done. So let's give you a couple of ones that you can try in your notebook to practice. First of all, you have 23 is greater than or equal to 10 minus 2w. Work on that one there. And the other one you have is 43 is greater than negative 4y plus 11. All right, pause the video here. Remember the rule. Unpause it when you're ready. All right, I'm going to go through this one kind of fast, so stick with me here. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 10, and I'm going to subtract 10 on both sides. This cancels out, just leaving me with negative 2w. Over here, 23 minus 10 is 13. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2. This cancels out. I divided by negative, so I have to switch my sign. I have w. 13 divided by a negative 2 is a negative 6.5. I'm going to switch it around because I like that when my variable is on the left-hand side, and I need to make sure that the sign opens up the same way. And so there it does. And now the last part is just to graph it. Okay, so I'm going to do negative 6.5, negative 5.5, negative 4.5, getting bigger as they get closer to 0. And over on this side, negative 7.5 and negative 8.5. And my circle is going to go above negative 6.5. And I'm going to fill this in because of the equal to sign right there. Okay. And W is going to be all the numbers bigger than that. And so the numbers bigger go off this way. And now I've solved it and I've graphed it. Okay, good job. Let's try the one now on the right. Okay, over here, I need to subtract 11. Subtract 11. 43 minus 11 is going to give me what? 32. Okay. Divide by negative 4. Divide by negative 4. Then I'm just left with y. I divided by a negative here, didn't I? So make sure I switch the sign. 32 divided by a negative 4 is a negative 8. I don't like it when my variable is on the right, so I'm going to switch it, and I'm going to write y is greater than negative 8. These are the same thing, just written differently. And now the next part is to graph. Here's my graph. Negative 8, negative 7. Remember, we're going to do a few on each side. Negative 10. I'm going to leave it open because there's no or equal to, and y is all the numbers bigger than negative 8. So again, we're going to the right. All right. Hopefully you got those, and you are kind of with me. I know I went through fast on that, but I think by now you guys are probably starting to get the hang of this. So let's go ahead and let's move on. All right. Now we're getting to a little bit of a different kind of word problem. It's not going to be too bad. We are going to be asked to define a variable, to write an inequality, and then to solve the problem. So no directions for graphing in this particular problem, which should be music to your ears. Okay, I'm looking at the top of page 299 and example number 3. Okay, the problem says this: 5 minus 6 times a number is more than 4 times the number. Ooh, I'm running out of room here. is more than 4 times the number plus 45. And don't do what I do. Ugh, that's bad. Okay, plus 45. We've actually done something like this back in one of the beginning chapters of algebra. And all we have to do is we have to read this and we have to write what we're reading. Okay, so let's write what we're reading as we read through this problem one more time. I read 5 minus. So that's going to be 5 minus. Then it says 6 times a number. I don't know what number. It doesn't tell us what number. When it says that, we're just going to use x. Okay. Then we have is more than 4 times the number plus 45. And so our key right here to look at is this part right here, is more than. That tells us that we're going to have to use the more than sign. And if you know what more than is, should be that one, where the left side is greater than the right side. Now we can continue doing what we're doing. 4 times the number, so 4 times the number plus 45. So here we've written the inequality, and all we have to do now is solve it. So to solve it, I want to get the variables, the x's, on the same side. So I'm going to minus 4x, and I'm going to cross that out. Negative 5x minus 4x is negative 10x. Bring down the 5. What do you think we should do from here? Probably minus 5, cross this out. Bring down the negative 10x. Then we have 45 minus 5, which is going to be 40. And now I'm almost done solving this. Then I just need to divide by negative 10, divide by negative 10, and since we divided by a negative number, we must do what? Switch the sign, and 40 divided by negative 10 is a negative 4. We don't have to graph because that wasn't in the directions, and so our answer is x is less than a negative 4. Okay, let's do one for you. You could try the guided practice number 3 on page 299. It says that 2 more than half a number is greater than 27. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to pause this video right here and see if you can't work this out. Go slow. You're going to write out the inequality, see what you can come up with, and unpause it when you're ready, and we'll see how you did. Okay, so first I have 2 more than, so I'm going to read this, 2 more than, which is going to be 2 more than is plus, half of a number, just right here, half a number, that's going to be 1/2 times the number. We don't know what number it is, x or whatever you want to use, a, l, doesn't matter. Okay, is greater than, here's the next part, is greater than, so this part that we've already written needs to be greater than the last part, 27. Look at our nice, pretty, colorful, I just want to look at this for a second. That's fun. I'm just kidding. Okay, here's our inequality. Now all we have to do is we have to solve for x. So we're going to subtract by 2, subtract by 2. I'm going to ruin it by putting white all over this thing. 1/2 x is greater than 27 minus 2 is 25. Now what I have to do is I have to multiply by the reciprocal. Remember, we have a fraction, so we're going to multiply by 2. I don't need to flip it because it wasn't negative. 25 times 2 is 50. And there's your answer. So I hope you got it. I hope you were on board with that one. Not too bad. Only a few more things that we need to cover, and then we'll be done here. This one is called, we need to use the distributive property, which from our time with equations we've used. So we're not really adding anything different here. There's nothing that you haven't seen here before. The only thing that's different is that we have variables on both sides, and it's an inequality, not an equation. So here's my inequality, and this is on the bottom of page 299. I have 4 times 3t minus 5 plus 7 is greater than 8t plus 3. And I am asked to solve and then graph on a number line. So we have to do those two things. So let's get to solving this thing first. The first thing that I would do is I would distribute this 4. When you see this inside of parentheses here, that tells you that you got to distribute the 4 to the 3t and to the negative 5. So 4 times 3t gives me 12t. 4 times negative 5 gives me what? Negative 20. Then I'm going to bring down the plus 7, the greater than or equal to the 8t plus 3. And now we just need to solve like we've been doing. Let's get our variables on the same side because we have them on two different sides. We have 12t over here and 8t over here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the 8t to the other side by subtracting 8t and subtracting 8t. And then I get 12t minus 8t is 4t minus 20 plus 7 is greater than or equal to 3. I can combine my negative 20. I can combine this right here, negative 20 plus 7. Negative 20 plus 7 would be a negative 13. So I have 4t minus 13 is greater than or equal to 3. Okay. Now I'm going to add 13. Add 13. This will cancel out. Bring down my 4t. 13 plus 3 is 16. Bring down my sign. And one last step that I need to do to bring us full circle. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. Bring down my t. Greater than 16 divided by 4 is 4. So there's the solving portion of it. Now what I need to do is I just need to graph it. So I am going to draw my number line. I'm going to put 4 in the middle, 5 and 6, 3 and 2. I'm going to put my circle over my 4, open or closed, closed because of the are equal to, so I'm going to fill that in the best I can. Okay, now I have to decide, am I going to go right or am I going to go left? Well, t needs to be all the numbers bigger than 4, and all the numbers bigger than 4 are on this side, the right side. There we go. And then we're finished with that problem because we've solved it and we've graphed it. Okay. I am going to give you one where you can try it on your own for practice. If we're going to do 2b, this is going to be 4b. This is 2 times h plus 6. This is on the bottom of page 299 is greater than negative 3 h 8 minus h. And you will need to distribute twice on this one. Once on the left and once on the right. So pause the video here. Unpause it when you think you're ready for the answer. Good luck. All right, let's see how you did here. First thing is you need to distribute. So 2 times the h, 2 times the 6, 2 times h is 2h, 2 times 6 is 12. Bring down the greater than. Distribute the 3, the negative 3, negative 3, negative h. We get negative 24 plus 3h, because a negative and a negative is a positive. And now let's get our h's on the same side. I'm going to minus 2h, minus 2h. That crosses out. Leaves me with 12 is greater than negative 24 plus h. Then I'm going to add 24, and I get 36 is greater than h. I'm going to rewrite it like this. So my variable is on the left-hand side. Now the last thing that we need to do is we need to graph. And so we're going to draw that. 36. Draw our number line. Not get confused on what we're doing here. 38, 35, 34. Open circle at 36 and all the numbers less than 36. And there you go. We've done what we needed to do. Now we finally reached the last thing that we're going to be covering today. Okay, and these are two special situations. One, we're going to call empty sets, and the other one, we're going to call all reals. I'm going to give you one example of each. Okay, here's the first example of an empty set. Let's say we have 9t minus 5 times t minus 5 is less than or equal to 4t minus 3. This is on the top of the page of 300. The top of page 300. Okay, so let's go through and let's solve. Let's distribute. I have 9t. Negative 5 times t is just negative 5t. Negative 5 times a negative 5 is a positive 25. Greater than. Then I have 4 times t is 4t. And 4 times a negative 3 is a negative 12. Right? Now let's see what I have over here. On my left-hand side, I have 9t minus 5t, which would give me 4t plus 25 is less than or equal to 4t minus 12. No, I'm not saying 40. 4t. Get our t's on the same side. Minus 4t, minus 4t. That cancels out as well. And you'll notice that I'm left with 25 is less than or equal to negative 12. Now ask yourself, is 25 less than or equal to negative 12? No, 25 is larger than negative 12. So this is no solutions. It's an empty set. Nothing is going to work. No number that you would put in for t in this instant is going to make this true. Now let's try the other side of the coin with all real numbers. Okay? Excuse me. We have 3 times 4m plus 6 less than or equal to 42 plus 6 times 2m minus 4. Okay? Let's distribute the 3 First, 3 times 4m is 12m. 3 times 6 is 18. Then I'm going to bring down my 42. I've got to distribute the 6. That was really bad, wasn't it? Oh, it's even worse. 6 times 2, kind of hard to write with this thing, is 12m. And 6 times a negative 4 is negative 24. Now let's keep solving and see what we get. Put our m's on the same side. Minus 12m, that cancels out. Minus 12m, that also cancels out. That leaves me with 18 is less than 42 minus 24. Well, it just so happens that 42 minus 4 is 18. And now we have to look at this. Is 18 less than or equal to 18? Well, the first part, 18 is not less than 18, so that's false. But 18 is equal to 18. And so this checks out, and it's all real numbers would be your answer. Any number that you put in for your variable m would work. All real numbers. So the last couple of examples that I want you to take a crack at, or I'll just give you one here. Okay, let's do 5a. You have 18 minus 3 times 8c plus 4 is greater than or equal to negative 6, 4c minus 1. All right, and now we'll just solve. Well, nope, sorry about that. You're going to pause the video and you're going to solve it and then unpause when you're ready for the answer. And it's crucial that you're actually pausing them here and you're actually trying it. Because sure, you could just keep watching this all the way through and watch me solve it again, but you're not really learning anything by doing that. The point is for you to pause it, check your answers, do it, and then unpause it to see what I got. Okay, so let's see how you did. I have 18. I'm going to distribute this negative 3 here, distribute it over here. Negative 3 times 8c is negative 24c. Negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. Is greater than or equal to. Negative 6 times 4c is negative 24c. Negative 6 times negative 1 is positive 6. Okay, let's get our c's on the same side. I'm going to add 24c, add 24c. That cancels out. That cancels out. I got 18 minus 12 is greater than or equal to 6. 18 minus 12 is 6. So I got 6 is greater than or equal to 6. The first part is not true. 6 is not greater than 6, but 6 is equal to 6. And because that is true, our answer is all real numbers. And there you have it. So I think that's going to put a wrap on what we're going to cover for today. I hope you have a good understanding of what we're doing and how this is working. For your homework, let's start with on page 300. Let's do numbers 1 and 2, and then we will skip over and we will do 12 through 28. Okay, thank you guys for watching. Good luck. Hope you guys can understand what's going on. If you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks for tuning in.